I'm a 3D artist, and in this video, I'll be completely remaking this scene from Demon Slayer. So I've been a small fan of the show for a while, and I absolutely love the entertainment arc, and the demons themselves too. No, I'm not a weeb. So if you like what you see, please drop a like and maybe subscribe. So without further ado, let's get started, shall we? First things first, I looked for reference, because in order to make a scene, I have to know what the hell I'm making in the first place. I decided to ignore most of the fight scenes because 3D modeling another anime character will give me a stroke. And I stumbled across this scene. So with my newfound reference, I imported some old models they made about a year ago and began posing. The pose for Gyutaro was pretty simple, but because these are old models, they didn't have any facial rigs. So instead of wasting a ton of time rigging them, I decided to sculpt and adjust their teeth until they looked, pretty damn good. Looking at Daki, her hair was sliced off of the show because she was being decapitated, so let's just... Nice. Then I mimicked the pose and as well as masked the face to look exactly how I wanted. Now that our characters are so elegantly posed, I have to make the background. Utilizing the reference I had, I modeled it to its exact lines to get it perfect for the scene. I also took the time to adjust the camera to have a very low focal length to capture as much detail as possible. But while modeling, I didn't realize that the room was completely off scale. So let's just quickly fix it up. Now that we got our pose characters and our beautiful scene, let's see how it looks. And it looks like, I'm not gonna lie. So we gotta texture this bad boy. So I began texturing the floor and adding a small spotlight in front of the scene to see what the hell I was looking at. Texturing the floor, I just googled Japanese floor textures and this exact one showed up from the show, so that was pretty nice. So I added the bump map and ambient occlusion in order to get a rundown feel. Afterwards, I modeled the wooden pillars of the wall textured to the main surface using UV. Finally, I added some small details like painting and some doors in the back. In addition, I added some dents to the wall to give it a rundown feel with some noise textures and bump maps. And hey, looking pretty good. Now you see, in the anime, there's debris everywhere because some walls were smashed, ceilings were exploded, all that fun stuff that happens in anime. So I modeled some wooden planks, subdividing and randomizing the edges in order to give that broken feel. Then in order to scatter them, I initially thought that it would be a pain to do it by hand, so let's use the beautiful, epic, glitchless, rigid bodies. Nothing could go wrong. It went wrong. I timed it just right and saved the transformations, and I made some minor adjustments so it didn't clip through the walls and such. And now lighting, it's the best or the worst part depending on how powerful your PC is. So I added 3-pointing light to Gyutaro, making it pop at the scene, as well as darkening his face using a paint from the texture paint to give it that more dramatic anime scene. Also, I added a spotlight to Daki to give her more focus. She was kind of out there of the scene, you couldn't really see her. Afterwards, I took inspiration from CG Geek and added the dust strategy, scattering it all over the ground. And it's a great start. It's got that razz, but it's lacking that, you know, pizzazz.
Compositing.
See, this is my most powerful tool. I love adding so much to this scene. So, using a mist node, I was able to add the darkness to the back, making Gyutaro pop, and adding some distortion along the edges with an ellipse mask, in order to give that, like, 3D distort feeling like the original anime, making this scene look just so much better. And finally, I booted up Canva, and if you don't know what that is, it's basically bootleg Photoshop, but it's really good because it's free, effective, and I'm not paying $80 a month for that software. So I added some dust, a shit ton of fog, some ellipse masks, and also some clarity to give it that cinematic feel. And without further ado, here's the final product. I'm super proud of it, and it only took me 3 hours in the end. Honestly, it exceeded my own expectations, but if you want more videos like this going more into depth about how I made these models, be sure to drop a like in this video. And with that being said, have an excellent evening and a fantastic night, and I'll see you next video. Au revoir.